best we can with what we have, and we're just hoping to inspire you along the way. So I love meeting anybody who's willing to talk to us. It's the best part of my day, so that's my favorite part.
Big thing that I'll add too is the veteran community. When they do bring their families to the air shows, right, they want to be proud of the Air Force, and if we can put on a great show that surprises them, even if they've been around aircraft for 20, 30 years, that's what I take pride in the mostly, is providing a safe show, but also the awe-inspiring maneuvers and everything that takes place. It really inspires the next generation, but it also keeps the veterans, you know, happy. Good to see that the Air Force is still killing it, you know.
All right, so one of the questions I do get asked a lot, because I come and do a lot of air shows, is they see the handshakes and the waves and all that stuff when the pilots taxi out. Is there a secret sauce to that? Is there a personalized aspect to that? People have been asking me, so I want to ask you, what's behind all that?
Yeah, so in the beginning of the season, right before we go to winter training, the pilots will have an opportunity. We call it Thunderama. It's where we have our little unprofessional all calls, I guess you call them. But they get the opportunity to really introduce themselves to the team, show us what their call signs are going to be, all their like their hands, their shakes. We call them shake and bakes. Okay. So they'll show us all, and then it's on us to remember from that point. And then every time we see them, make sure that we, you know, introduce ourselves correctly by their call signs and everything that they got going on. So it's interesting, you know. It's not like any other unit. You rarely ever get to spend time with your pilots, but here we travel 200+ days a year, so you get to know them.
There really is a lot of camaraderie and professionalism behind that patch, and I think Dan got to experience it earlier. We were kind of out walking around, and I don't know if you noticed, but on the side of Dan's polo, he actually has your patch here, and nice. People were coming up to him and talking to him, and he was like, "Is it the patch?" Because
yeah, I was like,
people
whoa.
Don't come up to Dan. He doesn't have one of those approachable faces, and I was like, "It's definitely the patch, Dan."
It was like,
it's a
I
magnet.
got done talking to one person and then another person, and I was like, not actually on the Thunderbirds, but a small glimpse into your guys' life. So we really appreciate what you guys do, and thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I know you guys are super busy. Where to next? I'm just curious.
So we will head back home to Las Vegas over the next few days, and then we'll be heading to Battle Creek, Michigan.
That is a very cool show. I know you guys look forward to that every year. Maybe some cooler weather up there in Michigan, but the breeze is still continuing here over at Tinker Air Force Base here at Tinker Air Show 2025. I think we were talking about 3 gates having been closed here at the Tinker Air Show. There still is walk-in gates available here. If you're getting in your car, you want to still come out and see the show. You want to see those Thunderbirds. They're going to be taking off around 1500. That's 3 p.m. for you civilians out there. So you can definitely still walk in, but it's what gates are?
Ruskasee, Liberator, and Lancer are all closed. You can still come in if you're a DOD ID card holder at the main gate, the Air Depot gate. Again, you have to be a DOD ID card holder. We'll get it right to come in that gate. But Sergeant Taylor, Sergeant Banks, we really appreciate your time today.
Yes, thank you so much, and we hope you enjoy the show.
We're going to love it. And so we're going to kick it back out to the Air Boss from Broadcast Central here at Tinker.
So right about here is where Lynn Povey realized he had too much speed, couldn't do the snap. So he just brought it over on the 45-degree downline, did the exact same thing in the opposite direction. Now he knew there were going to be some questions when he got back down. But Lynn, being a quick-thinking man and having done some work for the Cuban Air Force, when he got back down, they were like, what the heck was that? He said, boys, that was the Cuban 8. And it's been an air show staple ever since. And here's Robert Johnson show us an excellent example of that maneuver. Coming over the top as Robert Johnson enters chip lamp. He's going to pull the nose up into the barrel roll. Now as Chip exits the aerobatic box, back comes Robert with the 4-point hesitation roll. Notice he comes down low to the deck, pulls the aircraft's nose up into the sky. There's 1, 2, 3, and brings it back level for the 4-point hesitation roll. Now watch that other T-28 comes overhead, this time by for the super slow roll. Once again, Chip Lamb peels out. Robert Johnson diving in right now. He's going to show us the classic Barnstormers loop. These aircraft are powered by a Wright Cyclone R1820-89B 9-cylinder radial engine rated at 1,425 horsepower. They can dive faster than 380 miles per hour. Now, right now, they're going to go out and rejoin. Robert Johnson's going to chase down Chip Lamb, and they're going to come down the show line in close trail. The hardest job in formation flying is being that wingman. All eyes on the lead. After this, he's going to join back up in the section. And his eyes are going to be fixed right on Chip Lamb. Robert Johnson is an exceptional wingman. Chip Lamb will tell you that himself. And they make this look super easy. But it takes a lot of concentration and stick and rudder skill to make it look this smooth. And watch as the Trojan Phlyers go back into the section formation, reposition the aircraft into the formation loop. Ladies and gentlemen, direct your attention to Show Center as the Trojan Phlyers come in for the formation loop. Watch, they pull those amazing T-28 Trojans up into the sky. Robert Johnson making that transition out on the wing, keeping tucked in right there. Let's go upstairs. I'm gonna give a chance to get out of the loop here and see just how rough the air is up there and how our pilots are doing. You guys wanna talk to Chip Lamb? Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of the Trojan Phlyers? We're going to get them recovered here momentarily. And then we're going to bring in the E3 Sentry, the AWACS, from right here at Tinker Air Force Base. Once again, I encourage you to go out and meet with any of these pilots you possibly can, and they're all happy to talk with any one of you. And ask them as many questions as you want. Though each and every one of them will be happy to tell you their journey in aviation and how they got started. The Trojan Phlyers with the overhead brake to land.
As a member of the Wolf Pack, I have to go with the slow roll.
One of my favorite maneuvers that I get to do as the lead solo is the slow roll. And so this is actually my favorite maneuver to watch during the demonstration from the ground, but also my favorite one to fly. I take the line from left to right, and you start to see an F-16 that's just hovering above the ground, 150 feet, and you just start to see the wings bank, and it's just this very slow, controlled roll that happens while you're going 500 miles an hour. It's just incredible to see such a high-power machine just do something so graceful and slow and fluid under such control, and it really just demonstrates what these jets are capable of, as well as the pilots and the people that we're training to fly them.
It is one of the most difficult maneuvers to fly. You're literally inputting every type of control in the jet, from stick and rudder, maintaining 100 feet, screaming across the ground, and it's awesome just knowing what it takes to fly that and how he makes it look so just easy and graceful, and then when the music drops as he's doing it, it's so cool.
It's actually an extremely difficult maneuver to fly and to do well and safely. So I always love a good challenge, but for me it's just really cool the perspective of while you're in the cockpit of the world just freezes in that moment, and you just see the entire globe of the world just rotating around you as you're doing that. So that's a really fun one to fly.
Like empennage and fuselage. In other words. If you look down and to your right, you can already see the landing lights on that E3 Sentry from the 552nd Air Control Wing. Piloting that aircraft is Captain Mayfield. The co-pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Wegman. The flight engineer is Tech Sergeant Doty. The crew is actually going to change places after their first pass. On the second class will be Captain Lawless and Captain Siefkin. Coming down the show line from right here at Tinker Air Force Base, the E3 Sentry. And if you guys live anywhere near this base, you know that sound. You don't even have to look up to know that an AWACS just flew over your house. The Boeing E3 Sentry Airborne Early Warning and Control System was developed by Boeing. E3s are commonly known as AWACS. This aircraft was built on the Boeing 707 aircraft, just like the KC-135 and the E6 Mercury that came by earlier. It has a distinctive rotating radar dome or rotodome above the fuselage. In March of 1977, the 552nd Airborne Warning and Control Wing received their first E3 right here at Tinker Air Force Base. There are 26 of those aircraft stationed here at Tinker, and they belong to the Air Combat Command. 4 are assigned to the Pacific Air Forces and stationed at Katina Air Force Base in Okinawa and Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska. The E3 is an aircraft with an integrated command and control battle management, or C2BM, surveillance, target detection, and tracking platform. The aircraft provides an accurate, real-time picture of the battle space to the Joint Operations Center. AWACS provides situational awareness of friendly, neutral, and hostile activity, command and control of the area of responsibility, battle management of theater, all altitude and all-weather surveillance of the battle space, and early warning of enemy actions during joint, allied, and coalition operations. Those aircraft lifting off on the runway right now are from Team Vance. Those trainers are going to be coming by here in just a little bit. We'll tell you all about them. Now they've done the crew change out. We have a different pilot and co-pilot on the flight deck of the E3. Coming down the show line one more time. You see the flaps now to gear down. The E3 Sentry, the AWACS, is coming to a full stop landing right here at Show Center at the 2025 Tinker Air Show. Get your hands in the air for your hometown team. They can't see you, but they can see you waving. Or they can't hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, diving down into the box, Mr. Craig Gifford. And the Stratotanker S300. Craig is also a member of the U.S. National Aerobatic Team. He's going to spin on the upline. He dove in at over 250 miles per hour. Over 9 Gs on that first pull. Watch, he comes back down to the knife edge spin. Now he's gonna pull back up into the rolling Cuban. He'll never stop rolling the airplane, slowing down as he adds some spice to this standard maneuver with multiple rolls. As he pulls in the vertical, he'll perform multiple aileron rolls and finish at the top with a crowd favorite, the hammerhead turnaround. As he pulls to a diagonal line, he'll add some rudder forward stick and watch that airplane tumble end over end. Craig absolutely loves this maneuver. It's got a lot of G-force and just somersaulting through the air as he throws the aircraft across the sky. Watch how crisp he hits the lines and points as he does point rolls down the show line. The 4-point rolls going vertical at the end of the show line as he turns around with another hammerhead. Another hard pull in the Stratotanker, spinning on the upline. This guy likes to fly any way but straight. Pushing that aircraft over the top. If you're feeling the need for speed, you can come up here and meet Maverick and Iceman down here at Show Center. Get a photo with these fictional famous aviators right here at the 2025 Tinker Air Show. That's the only way I can get a picture with them. As Craig comes diving back down to the box, a hard pull at Show Center, spinning on the upline. Inverted, still climbing up. You get it because he was inverted. Now coming back down. Back up into the vertical. You've noticed that our aerobatic pilots love to work in the vertical. That's because they can get up there, they can do some real fun stuff. Stall that aircraft out, a little bit of a torque roll, slide back down to the tail slide. And here's where the fun begins. The engine winds up, the Stratotanker S300 pulling 8 G's to the bottom of the pull, back up into the vertical. Snapping on the upline. Craig's bringing his talents to tinker for the very first time. He brings his signature blend of power, precision to our air show. He's been flying his entire life, over 5,000 hours in dozens of different types of aircraft. He's been a member of the U.S. aerobatic team since 2011. He's traveled around the globe to compete in World Aerobatic Championships. He has 6 medals from world competitions, over 20 gold, silver, and bronze medals from U.S. National Championship competition. Craig is the coach of the U.S. National Advanced Aerobatic team competing in Hungary this September. You can follow the team as they pursue gold on their social media pages. Originally coming from Texas, Craig now calls Tennessee his home. As he goes to the top of the tower, watch, he spins the Stratotanker S300 around. Right now he's going to climb up there and cool off the engine of the Stratotanker. He's been pushing it pretty hard. It won't take long though, he's going to be right back to work. And while Craig cools off, we got a couple of lost parents. We have two children that are at the Lost Children's Tent. Ella Mari, the 6 years old in a pink shirt and a jean romper. And Mavea, a 7-year-old with jean shorts and a white Thunder shirt. Apparently these children are cousins, so if you happen to be their parents, you can pick them over at the Lost Child Tent. But hurry, we have the Red Bull and Monster Energy on standby. Craig snaps on the upline. Into the knife edge climb, using the power of that engine to pull him up into the sky. Not so much using lift as he's just beating gravity into submission. The Star-Spangled Stratotanker with a knife edge spin on the upline. Tinker Air Force Base, get your hands in the air. He's hanging inverted. He can see you right now as he takes that aircraft and attempts to stop it in the sky. Ladies and gentlemen, look over your right shoulder. It's Craig Gifford bringing the Stratotanker S300 down the show line. He's giving you a little bit of a wing wave as he comes down. All right now we're going to recover Craig Gifford. And we're going to bring in that training flight from Vance Air Force Base. You guys still having a good time out there, Oklahoma City? We are too. We're glad to be here with you this year. This is the first time Air Boss Brad Klein and myself have been here at the Tinker Air Force Base Air Show. And of all the shows we've done this year, we have done a bunch. We're about midway through the season right now. You guys have been an incredible crowd. Coming overhead right now is our training flight from Vance Air Force Base, led by the T1 and 2 T6 Texan 2s. From the heart of America's pilot training powerhouse, Vance Air Force Base in Enid, Oklahoma, home of the 71st Flying Training Wing, which trains more than 400 pilots every year. Nearly 1/3 of all new U.S. Air Force pilots, with a team of active duty, guard, reserve, and civilian instructors. This wing's been training warriors for the sky since 1941. It's not just about flying, it's about leadership, excellence, and mission readiness. The 71st Flying Training Wing produces airmen who will go on to support every combatant command around the globe. The rugged, propeller-driven T6 Texan 2 is the first step in a student pilot's transformation. It's where cadets learn the fundamentals of flight, a modern trainer with a historic name honoring a legendary World War II era Texan. We were supposed to have the T-38C Talon. It did have a mechanical problem, but it was the world's first supersonic jet trainer. The T-38 trains future fighter and bomber pilots, preparing them to command aircraft like the F-22 and the B-1 Lancer. Completing the team is the T-1A Jayhawk, a twin-engine jet used to train pilots destined for mobility, refueling, and command and control aircraft. From airlift to AWACS, this is the trainer for the strategic side of air power. And they are somewhere out there in the Oklahoma sky. Maybe they can't find their way back to the base. Each one of these aircraft represents a path in the sky, mobility, strike, and support. and the airmen who fly them embody the commitment, discipline, and excellence of the United States Air Force. From the prop-powered precision of the Texan II to the jet-fueled fury of the Talon and the global mission-ready Jayhawk, these are the wings that build the world's greatest pilots.
Welcome back. It is day one of the air show here at Tinker Air Force Base. I'm Megan Gold from News 9, joined by Senior Master Sergeant Jones Martin, streaming live on the Tinker Air Force Base Facebook page and, of course, on News 9 and newson6.com. Defense Visual Information Distribution Service, and a big thanks to, of course, my local team at News 9, our sister station, also News on 6 in Tulsa.
Joining us here at the desk, one of my very favorites, and I'll tell anybody this, my favorite act of the air show, the Tora Tora Tora, and one of the incredible pilots that flies with that act, Mr. Patrick Hutchins. Thank you so much, sir, for stopping by. It was so exciting to watch you guys perform earlier.
Yeah, we're glad to be back at Tinker. We've done this show several times over the years, so always glad to come back. Great hospitality.
We're so happy to have you. Tell everybody that is watching the live stream a little bit about the mission of the Tora Tora Tora. You say it's a living history lesson. What does that mean?
Well, it's a living history lesson in that they don't really teach about the attack on Pearl Harbor so much in schools anymore. And there's a lot of people that don't really think about the event that thrust us into World War II to begin with. And so the attack in Pearl Harbor happened December 7th, 1941. They made a movie. 20th Century Fox made a movie, came out in 1970. It was called Tora Tora Tora. After they were done with some of the airplanes on making a movie, they ended up in the Houston area and were donated to the Confederate Air Force back then. Today it's called the Commemorative Air Force. And this act was put together and flown the first time at an air show in Galveston in 1972. So 53 years later, if my math is correct, these airplanes are still flying air shows. And so the living history lesson, it's three parts. We have the airplanes, we have the pyrotechnics, and we have our narrator telling the story of what happened that day. And so people can learn, people that have forgotten about it, they get to remind about what thrust us into World War II, and then kids can learn about history because our narrator's telling the whole story.
You know, you mentioned the pyrotechnics, you mentioned the airplanes. You guys have one of the most technically intricate acts at any air show that you guys will see. That finale, you know, if you guys missed it on the live stream, if you guys missed it here in person, you gotta check it out. It is just absolutely incredible, and luckily you can come out tomorrow and see it here live. But we could actually feel the heat coming off the flight line. How many people on your crew does it take to pull off this act?
There's about 10 to a dozen people out on the field, and they're setting up all the dynamite, all the gasoline, and they're all ready by the time we come over the crowd. And that part of the pyro is about 8 minutes, and they tell us that you're out of bombs and bullets. And so our Tora lead says, Tora, break it off, and we head out to go get in formation while our narrator keeps talking. And I guess you heard the, is it Kate Hudson that sings the song? And so, and here we come back by in a big formation with the smoke on, and the fire. The wall of fire is kind of a surprise.
Yes.
Nobody, they see the airplanes. Oh, it looks pretty, but the wall of fire is a surprise. And so it's kind of a great little finale. And then we finish with our photo passes, and then we land.
It's spectacular.
Yeah,
It's
just as easy as that, Megan.
Well, tell everybody at home where you're from, where you're based out of, and then how you specifically got to be involved with aviation and, of course, Tora Tora Tora.
Okay, well, my father was a pilot for a hobby. He never flew for a living. He had a living, and so I soloed on my 16th birthday. And that subsequently when he started flying with Tora Tora. And so I grew up watching him fly and going to air shows. But I would have to be in my early 40s before I would have the means and the time off work to go do air shows. So I started getting checked out. And we flew together for 8 years. And then he said 35 seasons is enough for me. And so you keep flying the airplane and you can continue on. And so that's how I got involved. And there's at least 3 second-generation pilots on the team. Their dads flew, and now we're carrying it on. And now younger pilots are starting to join us. So now we kind of can see who is going to perpetuate this program.
That's definitely incredible. How many seasons do you have on the team so far?
This is my 23rd season with the team, yes.
And you have another 20 in you, I'm sure.
I don't know, a few. And it gets in your blood. I can't imagine these guys going to an air show without me.
Well, I know this is a question that I have, and maybe for folks at home. What is going through your mind when you're up there and when you're doing the acts?
It is, it's sheer concentration. It's knowing where everybody is. It's very choreographed. I'll give away a small trade secret. We do have some markers on the ground. So when you see us on a head-on pass, we're literally 250 feet apart. So, but from the crowd, it looks close.
It looks so much closer.
And so very choreographed, very safe, but you're concentrating on what you're doing and where everybody is. And so it's just, yeah, you're not just flying around up there having a good time. And then when it's over, you can kind of relax and say, yeah, we did it again.
How much do you guys have to practice? How much preparation goes into going out on the road for a show season?
Well, air show season is from March to November. And so November comes and we do maintenance for the next 2 or 3 months. So we haven't flown an air show for a few months. So at the beginning of March, we all meet at some place in the country, usually in the South, and we spend an entire weekend getting current on our formation, the pattern. We do all kinds of different. We'll just do the zeros, we'll just do the Kates, we'll do everybody together. And so we get 3 hard days of flying, and then we have enough air shows during the season to stay proficient and current.
You know, we were talking a little bit about before we came on, and I mentioned, you know, this must be your full-time job because it's just so incredible watching you. And you said, no, this is not my full-time job. Can you speak a little bit about the volunteer aspect of Tora Tora Tora?
All the pilots of Tora are volunteers and have been for the whole 53 years. It is the money we charge to come to an air show goes toward the maintenance bank account for all the airplanes. We have to replace engines every so many years, propeller overhauls, tires, things break, these 80-year-old airplanes. And so to maintain the airplanes, that's why we have a fee to go to a show. But we don't get paid. We do this for the love of it and the travel and getting to meet great people like yourselves, and that's why we do it. And talking to veterans and seeing how excited the little kids are, and so lots of advantages of doing this and not have to be paid for it.
Well, we are so grateful for what you do, and we know what you're doing is inspiring the next generation of potentially pilots, and it's huge. So we're just so very grateful. We want to say thank you, and thank you for stopping by and talking with us. I know folks at home are so grateful that they have gotten to watch you as well.
My pleasure.
And thank you all so much for coming by and just watching us here on the live stream as well. We're going to take it back to the Air Boss and our aerial performances here at Tinker Air Show 2025.
I'm a big believer, like when we travel, to eat at the local mom and pop places. Like I don't want to go to chain restaurants, especially if we have it in Vegas, because Vegas has so many chain restaurants that it's just super important to me to like support local places when we travel.
Las Vegas has some of the best food I've ever had in my life. So the one thing that I get every time I come back is pizza from my favorite pizza shop in Vegas. And that is my return from home. I don't have anything in my fridge and I just need something. And then I get enough that I can have it for breakfast the next day and still enjoy it. So there are like a ton of great places across the country. I'm a huge foodie, so I'm all about it. But man, just coming home to that slice that I want is absolutely the best.
Favorite food would be either sushi. Whenever we're traveling on the road, I always look for a good sushi place. Or my mom's molasses cookies. Those are my two favorite foods.
Oh man, favorite food, French fries. That's my go-to. The cool thing about French fries, you can get them anywhere you go, so it makes fitting into the show suit a little bit harder, but I'm a sucker for some French fries.
Tamales, probably my favorite. We usually make those around Christmas, and it's just like an experience. You get your whole family together around the table and just making those, and then you get to enjoy them after a couple hours.
Favorite food? It's an easy question for me. Anything chocolate. So it does not matter if it's like chocolate, yo, good to go. Chocolate and peanut butter, best combo ever. Sign me up. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, can't go wrong.
There's a steak in a hotel, and hotel food is usually not the best, but there was a hotel that we stayed in Canada 2 years ago, and I have not forgotten about that steak in 2 years. It was great.
I like any kind of food, but ramen would probably be my favorite one. If not ramen, it would be pozole, which is a Mexican soup, so yeah.
My favorite food, I always try to go to Olive Garden. A lot of people don't like Olive Garden and say it's not real Italian food, but every time I go there, I get the same thing. The rigatoni with 5 cheese marinara, and then the crispy chicken Frita on that. It's the best thing in the world, and I get it every single time, no matter what.
I have to give it to my grandma. She still makes the best food. I don't care what anyone says. But it was albóndigas with a little bit of rice and beans. Just nice, simple meal, and it just fills you up. And just the thing of it being homemade, just always hit the spot.
I love salsa and chips. And salad, believe it or not. I eat a lot of salad. It's like I would eat that for every meal for the rest of my life if I could, which is weird, because it's salad.
I like any and all types of food everywhere we go, but I'm gonna have to say my favorite meal is my mom used to make king crab for it was Christmas Eve dinner. So she'd make this king crab, and you get a baked potato, and it was just mounds and king crab, and that's my favorite meal. That's my go-to.
Ladies and gentlemen, now on takeoff roll, Randy W. Ball and the MiG-17F. The man inside the machine is Randy W. Ball, North America's premier jet demonstration pilot. He's performed at well over 1,400 performances. No other North American jet demo pilot even comes close to that number. In fact, Randy is the only jet demo pilot, military or civilian, to be granted both a day and night unlimited aerobatic rating in jet fighter by the FAA. He has flown over 44 different types of aircraft manufactured in 9 different countries. Watch, he quickly transitions the MiG-17 to come back in for his first run. Inbound, from your left, Randy Ball in the MiG-17. A quick turnaround out to the right, and he's back in the aerobatic box. Ladies and gentlemen, do not take your eyes off of Randy Ball. Right down low and fast. Here we go. As a youngster, Randy's father took him flying occasionally, and he spent countless hours with one of his heroes, his great uncle Gilbert Ball, who flew 51 missions over Europe flying the B-17 Flying Fortress. Even before college, Randy knew he wanted to fly, and by the time he was 13, he had already taken off and landed a plane with his father and soloed at the age of 18. Randy volunteered to work his first air show in 1982. He flew his first air show more than 30 years ago. He now performs throughout North America, Canada, and Mexico. Look down low and right, here he comes. The MiG-17 was a very nimble fighter that could prove deadly unless respected when it was engaged by pilots with superior training and tactics, such as those used by the United States Navy and Air Force. One moment of complacency when fighting against a MiG-17 would prove fatal. It was flown by over 20 countries, 3 of which still fly it. Because of its famous heritage and great maneuverability, it makes one of the best airshow jets in the world, able to stay in front of the fans while still flying at high speed. Randy Ball's MiG-17F spent almost 4 years in restoration and is one of only a handful of vintage jets flying in North America airshow circuit. It is an authentic paint job and is the only MiG available for ground display and fully restored guns. Coming in high from the right. Randy's MiG has been seen by millions of airshow fans across North America and has been featured in numerous publications, appearing on t-shirts, newspapers, posters, and more. It was filmed on several occasions, including performing as the enemy aircraft in the United States Air Force's F-4 Phantom for the Discovery Channel and History Channel. It has a top speed of 715 miles per hour, making it a supersonic aircraft. Coming around from the left, ladies and gentlemen, Randy W. Ball. Quick transition out to the right for Randy Ball. Here comes the MiG-17. Low and fast from the right. Watch when he gets to show center. Up like a rocket is Randy Ball in the MiG-17. Right now, Randy's going to transition and come by for a high-speed pass. He's going to see how close he can get to the speed of sound without breaking the sound barrier, because we can't do that anymore. People get mad we break the windows. .87 Mach already as he comes down the show line. 8.8. just under the speed of sound for Randy W. Ball in the MiG-17. All right, Oklahoma City, I want a poll here. What do you guys think of Randy Ball in the MiG-17? Well, here he comes over your right shoulder. Now he's going to pull up and brake to land. All right, we're going to recover Randy Ball, and then we're going to throw some more people out of airplanes, because that's always fun. The good news is we have efficiently killed every mosquito in the middle of the airfield.
born out of the jet age to represent airmen and to inspire the next generation. More than 65 years later, what this team has become is much more than airshow performers. We are leaders demonstrating the capabilities of America's Air Force to our great nation, as well as spreading goodwill to nations abroad. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The Korean War was still going on, and the F-84G was a frontline fighter, and some called it the workhorse of the war. First Thunderbirds team would fly 5 of these aircraft. Major Dick Catledge was picked as the Thunderbirds' first commander. Crazy as it may sound today, he had only 3 weeks until their first air show. The Thunderbirds were quickly formed. Jets were painted, and by June of 1953, they were performing. As the years passed, the aircraft changed. Thunderjet, Thunderstreak, Super Sabre, Thunder Chief, Phantom, Talon. All these aircraft represented a different generation of Thunderbirds, different advancements in technology. Technology that in 1983 brought us the jet that revolutionized the fighter aircraft world and today remains a dominant force in the sky. The mighty F-16 Fighting Falcon. Thunderbirds have flown the F-16 for more than 30 years now. Minus the red, white, and blue paint scheme, they are the same as the jets flying missions around the world today. It only makes sense that when people think of the Thunderbirds, they more than likely think of our F-16s. While those jets are our most visible assets and project the strength of our Air Force, it is our airmen that make it all possible. The Thunderbirds are comprised of more than 130 airmen. There are 12 officers, each known affectionately by their number, with one exception, number 1. Our commander, we call him Boss. He and Thunderbirds 2 through 8 are highly experienced fighter pilots. Thunderbirds 1 through 6 are demonstration pilots. Thunderbird 7 oversees Thunderbird operations, and Thunderbird 8 acts as our advanced pilot and narrator during shows. Thunderbirds 9 through 12 are support officers who perform expert medical, administrative, maintenance, and public affairs functions. There are also more than 120 enlisted personnel representing nearly 30 career fields. Enlisted team members are selected from units across the Air Force. Each enlisted member plays a crucial role maintaining this well-oiled machine at home and on the road. Our time in this uniform is short, and each one of us is charged by making the most of it, by inspiring and encouraging others, by representing our amazing Air Force. So while the faces and jets have changed, the mission remains the same. We are the United States Air Force Air Demonstration Squadron. We are the Thunderbird.
While we got a few minutes here between acts, I want to give a special shout out to a VIP guest we have here today, retired Colonel and Vietnam veteran Jerry Hume, call sign Hummer. He served the United States Air Force and the Air National Guard during the Vietnam War. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a big round of applause.
Never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined.
So the purpose of Day in the Life is to show young high school students what it's going to be like on the BCT, that's basic training side of the tracks, and kind of get them a little ready for it and show them, hey, like this is what the Army does, this is what the Army can do, here's something that you can do, here's 150 different career options that are available to you. They came here so they can kind of get an idea of what the Army does outside of just kicking indoors and shooting stuff. Because we do a lot more than that. They've gotten to see various vehicles that we have, and they've got to see some of our fire systems. Our local fire department for Fort Sill came out here and kind of gave them a demonstration on what they do. The police department came out here with the K9 unit, and so they got to see some fun stuff with the K9 unit, get to tackle people and stuff.
I think it does a really good job at interesting students, because this stuff is really interesting, to me at least, to see all the cool vehicles that they have and all the big giant things that they shoot. And I do think it's really cool. It's a cool event to go and spend the day.
I kind of always just wanted to join the military. I just seen the combat engineer when I was young, talked to him, and then he was like, I'm a combat engineer, so I always wanted to be one.
I challenge you to think about our country and what a great place it is and how incredible of an opportunity you have to potentially serve.
It like opens up the eyes, see what the Army got. I heard earlier the Army has over 153 jobs or something like that. So it's just one of the many things that the Army provides. The possibilities are endless with the military. You never know what you can get. The benefits are good. There's not really nothing bad to say about the military. It's a pretty good thing.
I think the military holds a lot of benefits, and like no matter which branch you join in, you should definitely at least look at it and see where it all goes first before you say no.
Welcome back here to Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City. So glad you could join us. Day one of this two-day air show rolling on here. The Wings of Blue getting ready for their second performance of the day. So a lot more coming on the schedule. We're also waiting for the Thunderbirds. They'll take to the air around 3:30 Central Time after their ground demonstration. So lots of has happened today. We've seen big heavy airplanes. We saw trainer aircraft as well take to the skies just a little while ago. Tora 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 was here with their big pyrotechnic display, a reenactment of the attack on Pearl Harbor back in World War II. So a lot's happening here this weekend, but we would be remiss if we didn't note that the aviation community, which is really a family, and just a mere 2 months ago, the community lost one of its own, a true original, Mr. Rob Holland. Rob was a true master of the skies and a man who redefined what was possible in the world of aerobatics.
Signature maneuver from Rob Holland. It is called the Nivek.
Very big dedication to each and every one of us that we appreciate so much. And from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to dedicate this heart to each and every one of them.
So, you know, our condolences to the family of Rob Holland, and he was just such a treasure for everybody who knew him. And, you know, I think in the few times that I had the opportunity to meet Rob, he really just loved aviation and he loved performing. So, you know, just a big loss for the air show community, but I think he'd be thrilled to watch the skies here today, and he'd be thrilled to see the Wings of Blue who are about ready to jump out of their Otter aircraft for the second time here today. Don't forget, we'll be on the air again tomorrow, streaming day 2 of this air show. We'll be on the air about 10:45 Central Time. But today we still have the Thunderbirds coming up. For now, we're going to kick it out to the Air Boss, and then the Wings of Blue will be jumping in.
Lieutenant General Brian Robinson, Commander of Air Education and Training Command, it is my privilege to narrate for you a precision free-fall parachute demonstration brought to you by your United States Air Force parachute team, the Wings of Blue. The Wings of Blue. Sorry. The aircraft being used in today's demonstration is the Havilland and UV-18B Twin Otter, call sign Congo 65, piloted by Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Foltusher from Grand Junction, Colorado. On this pass, 5 jumpers will perform a maneuver known as the bomb burst. 5 jumpers will exit the aircraft from 11,500 feet above the ground with smoke attached to their left foot and perform various free-fall maneuvers to build a formation in the sky known as the star. They will break the formation at 6,000 feet by turning 180 degrees to perform a track maneuver and fly horizontally away from each other so they can be at a safe distance to deploy their main canopies. Turn your attention towards the sky as they prepare to exit the aircraft. And there they go. Jumpers are accelerating at speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour as they build their formation. All jumpers have now made it to the formation. If you observe just 1,000 feet above, Captain Chad Suffolcool is performing a tandem skydive with Tinker Air Force's Base's very own Colonel Tamerlane Desmukes, Deputy Commander of the 72nd Air Base Wing, exercising the vast capabilities of your U.S. Air Force parachuting team. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Wings of Blue Bombers. This time, all jumpers have successfully deployed their main parachutes. They will now perform a controllability check, ensuring the canopy is safe to fly before setting up a precision landing in the target area before you. Airmanship 490 is the basic freefall parachuting course taught by each and every member of the Wings of Blue. Our jump program is the only place in the world where your first jump is a completely solo freefall skydive. Students accomplish nearly 40 hours of ground training to prepare before they must stand in the door. Wings of Blue instructors award up to 700 jumplings each year. Ladies and gentlemen, our jumpers are low enough that they can hear you. Put your hands together for the Wings of Blue. Leading in our jumpers from Parker, Colorado with 701 jumps, let's hear it for Cadet First Class, Jack Brees. Now entering from San Antonio, Texas with 714 jumps. Put your hands together for Cadet First Class, Luke Childs. Let's make some noise from Singapore with 711 jumps. Give a warm Tinker welcome to Cadet First Class, Avery Tan. Up next, from Yakima, Washington, with 712 jumps, let's hear it for Cadet First Class, Ace Fetterspiel.
We're less than an hour away from seeing America's ambassadors in blue take the skies here in Oklahoma City. Air shows are really our opportunity as military members to connect with the American public and inspire the next generation of airmen and guardians. Joining us now, an airman responsible for getting that next generation actually into the uniform, Staff Sergeant Caleb Villa, or should I say Tech Select.
Yes,
Caleb Villa, congratulations
Thank you so
on
much.
the recent
Thank you.
promotion. Joining us here at Broadcast Center. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for the invite.
Okay, so first question for you. There are so many different aspects to service in the Air Force and the Space Force. From my understanding, there are over 200 different career fields to choose from. Can you talk a little bit about the different opportunities people have to serve?
Yeah, so definitely throughout, Air Force and Space Force, a lot of different jobs. Like you said, over 200 jobs. We have a little bit of everything. We have, aircraft maintenance to pest management. You know what I mean? So a lot of people think it's just flying, just working on aircraft. So you could do, like me, I was a personnelist before I came into recruiting, so human resource specialist. We have intelligence, we have firefighters, security forces, which is like law enforcement, a little bit of everything. So honestly, I always tell my applicants, hey, the world's your oyster. Just take your test and see what happens from there.
You saw me look off camera. That's because Samantha out there is also a personnelist.
Oh, we're okay, 3 Info fam. Okay.
Yeah, running our teleprompter. She's actually working with the 2nd Audio Visual Squadron. That's the professionals that are running our live stream here at the air show. And part of her immersion is getting to come out here. But she's
Nice.
a personnelist
Okay,
by trade.
so you know the vibes. You know the vibes.
Big up to the 3 Fs out here. And Megan, a meteorologist by trade. We actually have weather in the Air Force.
Correct. Yes, you could be a meteorologist in the Air Force. Their tech school is insanely long, but it's worth it. A lot of people come in. Sorry, it's like riding up on me a little bit.
Oh, you're fine. Take your time.
A lot of people want to come in, and especially being from Oklahoma with all the tornadoes and all the craziness going on here, they definitely get into that. So I've definitely put in a few meteorologists in the Air Force.
So you can take tons of different skills, different areas of interest, and turn it into a career in the military.
Yes, ma'am. So, I mean, like I said, let's take for an example, somebody that comes in and does aircraft maintenance. It's to learn something like that on the civilian sector. Either A, you got to pay for it. It's essentially it's a hard career field to get into. So someone that says, hey, I want to join the Air Force, they can learn how to work on aircrafts. They can learn cybersecurity. They can learn law enforcement, how to be a firefighter, how to like for aerospace medical service, how to get your EMT certifications and stuff like that. Get some experience. Get your degree, whatever it is, maybe whatever your personal goals are, take that and then get into the to the civilian sector and be successful.
Can you talk a little bit about just the process of enlisting? I went through it, but it was just a little bit of time ago. Enlisting in the Air Force probably seems like this huge, complicated process, but can you break that down for somebody that might not be familiar with it?
100%, yeah. I definitely haven't been doing that for the last 3.5 years. So I actually enlisted 2019, so definitely very, I guess, closer to most other people, but even then the process has changed since then. But honestly, it does seem complicated, but it's really just 4 steps. The first one is, hey, do I want to join? You want to join? Cool. Second one is talk to a recruiter, bring your documents and things like that. The third step, take your ASVAB. Fourth step, take your physical, which is your medical examination. And if everything goes over there, and those 4 simple steps, you're joining the Air Force. So it's not that difficult.
And we're about to see that Otter aircraft from the Wings of Blue pass back behind us here at Broadcast Center. So cool. USAFA, the U.S. Air Force Academy, just one way that you can serve in the United States Air Force. Can you talk a little bit about what is the difference between like an officer accessions and an enlisted accessions? Because a lot of people maybe might not know the difference, that we actually have 2 different ways that you can serve.
Correct, 100%. Yeah, I get that and question a lot in my office. Someone comes in and they're like 18, fresh out of high school. They're like, hey, Sergeant Vila, I want to be a pilot. And I'm like, all right, well, let me break it down to you. So there are 2 different ways that you could serve in the Air Force, A, being the enlisted, and B, officer. So enlisted, you're looking at your traditional, like, hey, I'm fresh out of high school, or even if you're just like me, I was 23, turning 24, I joined, right? So that is just, hey, you pass your ASVAB, physical, you just have like your minimum education requirements and you join. The officer sector is a little bit different. So those are for individuals that have their bachelor's degree already, or maybe they have a medical degree, a specific skill, and then they're joining on the officer side as far as like essentially being like a supervisor, that kind of thing in the Air Force. So there's a lot different than just, hey, I'm just joining as an enlisted member. So a lot of misconceptions in regards to that.
And you can actually do a lot of your own research as well. You can go to the Aim High phone app.
Aim High app, and also airforce.com. A lot of information on there.
There we go. Well, speaking of misconceptions, so there may be some misconceptions out there about service in the military. So we want to debunk some of those myths. What are the top 3 or 4 myths you would say that are out there about joining the Air Force?
Yeah, a lot of misconceptions.
Keep it to 3. Keep it to 3.
Yeah, I'll try. So I would say that the big one is as soon as I talk to my recruiter, I'm out the door the next day. Like, they're shipping me out to wherever, and I'm doing whatever it is that the Air Force needs me to do. That's definitely a misconception. It's not true. Some people want that, and even then it's not possible sometimes, depending on just different circumstances. But it is possible. But for the most part, you let kind of like the Air Force know what's a good timeline for you, and we call it, it's called your availability date. So if you finish everything today, and you're like, hey, I got family, whatever's going on, anytime after this date, cool, then all right, you can essentially, ship out sometime after that. The second misconception that's really big is, hey, I'm joining the Air Force, but I can't choose my job. Like, be open to different things, but it's not just like, hey, the Air Force said I'm doing this job, so that's all I'm doing, right? A lot of different ways, you could pick certain jobs that you're wanting to do and things like that, and then, join that way. It's not just, oh, I'm doing this job. So those are, I would say, the main two misconceptions in regards to joining.
What about in terms of deployment? Because I have to think for a lot of folks at home, maybe they're interested in serving. I'm sure that can be very intimidating, especially if they're worried about having to go overseas to leave their families. Talk a little bit about maybe the jobs that are more likely to be deployed, the ones that are more stateside.
Gotcha. It's a double-edged sword, honestly. I've met people in the Air Force that, hey, they've been in 6 years and deployed 4 or 5 times. And then you have someone like one of my first supervisors, she was in 17 years and deployed twice. And then you can talk to someone like me, I've been in almost 6 years, I've never deployed. So there's really no specific job that, hey, you'll never deploy, or some jobs that you're just going to have high tempos of deployments. Honestly, it's just dependent on just where you're at, the mission or the requirements of the Air Force, that kind of thing, what's going on. But above all else, it is very intimidating. I got tasked about 4 or 5 different times for a deployment, so you could, just imagine how that feels. Like, hey, you're going, no, you're not going, you're going, you're not going. So I've been through the whole mental process of like, oh my God, I'm gonna deploy a lot of different times. My dad, he was in the Army. He did a lot of different deployments. So like, I just talked with him, and he's just like, hey man, like, look, your mission is different. If you're not trained to kick down doors and take down names, it's just not what you're going to do, right? So if you're an aircraft maintainer and you get stationed overseas, what are you going to do? Hey, I'm fixing aircrafts just at an overseas or deployed location. So in the layman's terms, it's like, honestly, there's really no right or wrong answer. It could go different routes. Just depends on just how your career shakes out. You know what I mean?
So it sounds like if you have a specific area of interest, the Air Force is going to try to make sure that you end up in that area of interest. Correct. You're not going to be thrown into something that you're not interested in whatsoever.
100%. And I would say my story is the perfect reflection of that. So I joined with a mechanical contract. So essentially you're joining and they're like, hey, you're going to do something in mechanical. And I was like, hey, I just want to join. I want to serve. I want to get a paycheck. so hey, I'm down. Let's do it. And I think in like 2 months I was, out the door. October 1st, 2019, I'm out. So I went to basic training, and at basic training they have it's kind of like a career council, like a job council portion. So you talk with a recruiter there. He saw that I had a bachelor's degree in business admin, and he's like, they got you doing mechanical stuff? He's like, do you want to be a personnelist? Like some admin work? I was like, yes, sir, I do. So he hooked me up. And funny enough, so shout out to Matt Sergeant Cook. He worked at Oklahoma City MEPS. And when I did my MEPS training, I was like, thank God, you saved my life. So essentially, like I said, that's a perfect reflection. And I try to do that as well. I've had a lot of people come in and it's like, hey, I got a degree in German. Hey, I speak with this type of language. Like, hey, you ever heard of being a linguist? Some people come in and they're like, hey, I had a cybersecurity cluster at my VOTEC in high school. Hey, come on. What is one of the key domains of the Air Force? Cyberspace superiority. So, hey, we can get you in that. Or now we got Space Force now. So, showing love to the sister service. So, but yeah, 100%. That's what it's all about. Just trying to not only benefit the airmen or the future airmen at that point, but also the service and ultimately the United States.
Good recruiters really are worth their weight in gold. And we want to thank you, Sergeant Villa, for stopping by here today. Anything else that you want to add, your last pitch that you want to add to the people here in Oklahoma?
Honestly, nothing too crazy. I just know my mom and my dad is watching, and eventually I feel like my brother gonna check the replay. So I just want to give a big shout out to them. I know they tuned in. So love you, Ma.
Oh,
besito, te amo.
We are so grateful for all you're doing to help recruit kind of the next generation. We know that these air shows are such a big part of recruiting the future and kind of planting that seed in them. So we're grateful for what you do.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Definitely check out airforce.com, that Aim High app, to get information on the Air Force, those 200 different careers that we mentioned, and find a recruiter near you. We're going to take it back out to the Air Boss. We are getting closer and closer to the Thunderbird showtime here right at the Tinker Air Show.
Countdown is on.
for the world-famous Franklin's Flying Circus. All right, here in a few moments, I told you earlier that we were going to have a photo flight come by, and I have to be honest with you guys. I was lying. There was never going to be a photo on that plane. It was all an act. But the next one is not a lie. They actually are going to bring a plane down the show line with the Civil Air Patrol. And they are going to take some photos of the crowd here. This is going to be for media purposes, for public affairs, for the show. This song is my tribute to Kyle Franklin and his drug comedy act. So I have a little tradition that I like to do before the Thunderbirds fly, and the best result I've ever had came in Cocoa Beach, Florida a few years ago. But we're going to see if this crowd, because it's a really big crowd, can actually beat that crowd in Florida. Let's see if you guys can figure this one out and know exactly what to do.
one of my favorite parts after we had taxied and we're at the end of the runway is when Thunderbird 1 says, "Burners now," and that's how you know, like, it's about to go down. And you just feel the jet starting to accelerate and just go down the runway, and I just kept on probably yelling in my pilot's ear, like, oh my gosh, we're going, and just probably saying like, wow, because then I saw the ground immediately start getting smaller and smaller. And the first maneuver that we did, because I was in a practice show as my fan flight, was the loop on takeoff, and that felt insane to feel that force on me right away as the first maneuver. It was awesome. It was a roller coaster, but better, because then I don't get a stomach dropping feeling afterwards. Flying is what everybody sees, is the flying, the jets, the tight blue suits. But I would say that's actually second to my favorite part of being a Thunderbird. My favorite part is the people. It's the team. Our teammates, we have such a unique bond because we spend so much time together. I mean, 270 days on the road. You overcome all these challenges and you gain all these memories together that I don't believe you'll get in any other unit.
I think it starts with the core values of the Air Force. So integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. When you boil those down, that really is a recipe for success in any profession, honestly, but it definitely resonates pretty profoundly on the Thunderbirds. We have a motto on this team, and it's blind trust. And in order to have blind trust in the person next to you, the crew chief preparing the jet, from our public affairs team setting up an event like this, to the pilot next to you that's flying 18 inches off of your wing, you have to have those things. You have to be excellent. You have to have integrity. People have to believe what you say, and you have to believe in serving for something greater than yourself. So those three traits or characteristics are something that I really value. I'd say beyond that, there's a motto that I learned at weapons school in the Air Force, which is being humble, approachable, and credible. So although the integrity, service, and excellence are important, I take that additional humble, approachable, credible approach because those are the kind of people that I want to be on a team with. And if I can emulate those characteristics, then hopefully people will want me to be on their team.
Is that a local thing here? I thought that was just the Thunder.
I am Major Crystal Jimenez. I go by Nemo. I am the Public Affairs Officer, also known as Thunderbird 12 for the Thunderbirds, and this season I will also be the narrator for the first part of the season. When I was younger, I really wanted to be a spy. I thought it would be cool to learn different languages, and I actually still really love learning new languages, but I thought it'd be really a cool way to kind of learn more about the world and see the world and do something productive. Obviously, I did not become a spy. Last season, I was the alternate narrator, or like the backup narrator, so I had a little bit of experience, which made it a little bit easier. So going into this season, I was one of the folks that was able to kind of slide in and help get ready and get the team ready from a narration perspective. I have done, just when I was little, I did a lot of singing and dancing as part of groups. I think the biggest thing that I just kind of taught myself or like learned was no matter what, like you've been practicing this routine and you've been working on it day in and day out. So at some point you just have to trust your instincts and let your body and your muscle memory do its job while you continue to like do yours. While I'm not necessarily speaking different languages, going into all those different pockets of the community and talking to those different types of people has really given me the opportunity to educate more folks about the Thunderbirds and what our mission is.
right, as he comes down the show line, everybody wave. You're going to be in the Christmas card. Five minutes remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time! We're going to turn the air, the ground, and the whole show over to America's ambassador in blue, your United States Air Force Thunderbirds!
Please direct your attention to show center as we welcome those before you into our United States Air Force. And now our flight surgeon, Thunderbird 9, Major Jacob Hall. You got it, 9.
Good afternoon, Tinker. I am Thunderbird 9. On behalf of the Thunderbirds, I invite all of you to join us in welcoming the newest members of our military family as they take the oath of enlistment and begin their journey of service. To the friends and family in attendance, we thank you for supporting them and helping them become the outstanding individuals that they all are. Today, they become part of less than 1% of Americans who volunteer to serve their nation's military. We are incredibly proud of their commitment to their country and honored to serve alongside them as brothers and sisters in arms. Raise your right hands. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Please join us in congratulating the newest members of your United States military.
before we get started, I've got one question for you. Who's ready for the Thunderbirds? Woo! I'm Major Brandon Maxson, Thunderbird 8, the team's advanced pilot and narrator from Ontario, California. It's great to be here at Tinker Air Force Base, and today I want to tell you about the Thunderbird mission, a demonstration of the teamwork, dedication, and professionalism that mirrors that of your Air Force, active duty, Guard, and Reserve personnel deployed around the globe. Right now, the pilots are completing some pre-flight checks at the end of the runway, and once they're ready, we'll take to the skies. Hang tight while we get ready to fire on up.
Thunderbird 1, cleared for takeoff 36. Thunderbirds, let's run them up. Stand by, smoke. Smoke ready now. Smoke ready now. One's on the roll.
And now, OKC stand tall as America's ambassadors in blue. Open with a tribute to the greatest nation on earth, America's own, your 2025 United States Air Force Air Demonstration Squadron, known to all the world as the Thunderbirds! Woo! In 1954, the first solo pilot made their debut on the Thunderbirds. And in 1962, the opposing solo was added. Now check this. And welcome our current solo pilot. And welcome our current solo pilot.